And this is the Random Tangent test recording for new set and equipment. I know you're asking, why would we be doing such a thing? Neil, why are we doing such a thing?
I don't know, you called me over here and I got nothing else to do.
That could be the statement for our show, right?
Random Tangent. Got nothing else to do.
So,
what's your slogan? Anyway. No, this is not what we're testing. Testing, not test-ease. Ease.
This is perfect. This is perfect. Because you can look down and go, okay, I feel like a comedian. Waiting for that red light to flash. Off the stage.
Sometimes I hold a candle. I can't be funny when I think this place is haunted. I can't be funny when I'm frightened.
Ooh, wait. Anywho, so we're doing a quick few-minute video to let our viewers know that, yes, we are gone for a little while. All 20... What do we have?
21.
21 now?
By the way...
Haven't even made it 22 yet, huh? All right, Sean.
Four away from our next reward episode. We're going to be doing some skits. We have some stuff in mind. If we get to 25 subscribers, we're going to do it. What the fuck are you doing?
Nah, they can stream it.
We're going to be doing a skit episode. It'll be a lot of fun. It's just all that. It's just him making... Yeah. Well, we're talking... Jesus Christ. We're talking about last night, instead of just doing nothing, use this opportunity to tell
Which is, ironically enough, what we do best.
Use this opportunity to tell you about a fun game that we've both been playing somewhat recently.
Fun? Horrifying? Terrifying?
An interesting game. We'll go that way. Interesting game we've both been playing somewhat recently called... Yeah, very interesting game. More of an... I wouldn't even say game. More of an experience.
This is why we sit in seats.
I didn't peg you for being mobile once you stood up. I figured you just kind of...
I'm fat and jolly.
You like the way the feeling of the thing's moving.
Yeah. Loose shorts. Anywho.
I decided to use this opportunity, instead of just standing up here and talking about whatever, to tell you guys about an interesting little game that we've been playing recently called...
Hellblade!
Senua's
Sacrifice.
Where to start? Well, in the game, you play as a character named... Senua.
Balls. Sorry, I can't.
She's a Pictish warrior. If you don't know...
Fictitious warrior?
Pictish.
Oh.
From the Picts.
The fuck's a Pictish warrior?
The Picts were a group that was up in, I think, northern England, Ireland, somewhere in that region.
That explains it.
They were never conquered by the Romans. They held out against the Romans. They kind of disappeared from history, though, right about the same time. If you look back through fossil records or, digging around as people do, archaeologists and whatnot, they disappeared right around the same time. A whole bunch of Viking artifacts started showing up in the same area, so it's pretty easy to figure out what happened to them. Not the friendliest group, the Vikings. No. In the game, you play as Senua. She's a Pictish warrior. She also suffers from severe psychosis.
Severe.
Really bad.
Good news is, after you're done with the game, so do you.
With psychosis, hearing voices, seeing things that aren't there, a whole bunch of messed up stuff. This game actually captures the experience very, very well and makes you experience it too, and we'll get into that a bit later. Yeah. Just to give you a little backstory of who this character is, like I said, she's a Pictish warrior who suffers from psychosis. She is raised in a household where it was totally not cool to be like that. Her mother suffered from it. Her father was one of those guys with just enough abuse and torture and yelling and berating and beatings and whatnot. That'll knock it right out of you. That was his understanding of it. And the 30s. Didn't go so well for either her or her mother. Eventually she meets a boy, though, as is often the case.
'Tis a boy!
And things go better for her. She's happy with him, and things are going good up until a plague hits the village, pestilence, a bunch of people die. Senua thinks it's her fault. Her psychosis, or she calls it her curse, brought this about. So she goes into exile for a while, goes out into the wilderness, meets another guy named Druth, who had been captured by Vikings and was their hostage for a amount of time. While they're out, he tells her all these stories about the Viking customs and culture and mythology and whatnot. And eventually Senua comes back from the wilderness, gets back to her village, and finds out, in the meantime, oh shit, it's been raided by the Vikings. And they tore it up. As we're saying, sodomize all everything. Just
Sodomy.
sodomy, sodo you. It's all good. And
Cowboy butt sex.
her boyfriend gets the worst of it. He gets what's called the blood eagle sacrifice. And
That's where like 3 guys at one.
no, it's a whole bunch
It
of
makes you squeal like an eagle.
whole bunch of flaying and bad shit. He got the worst of it there, and Senua was convinced that his soul cannot be happy in the afterlife. After that, so she's on a quest
To retrieve the soul with, what is she carrying around, Neil?
his head. Because that soul goes in, the throne of the soul is in the head. So she has to have the head with her. She carries it in a bag with her the entire time to reunite them, and he'll be happy in the afterlife. That's where the story begins.
Begins.
Yeah. That's the backstory. That's
Begins!
the backstory that's you learn throughout playing the game. We just summed it up for you. The gameplay itself, how would you describe it? Not too difficult.
It has a similar feel to a Tomb Raider. Kind of that open world, almost the same kind of lighting and the same kind of very dreary effect. That being said, the combat, that's, I think, where it differs from a lot of other games.
In some aspects, kind of repetitive. But at the
I
same
like it,
time,
though.
yeah, it's fun.
It's challenging.
It's fluid.
It is.
I'd say definitely the fight scenes look awesome when you're fighting whatever.
Gives it a very cinematic feel when you're doing the fights.
Yes, especially against some of the bigger bosses. Looks really good. Puzzles in the game, there's a few of those. Nothing's, I would say, too difficult though. Basically, the game's here to tell a story, and it doesn't want to get you too hung up on not being able to fight.
Progress.
Or yeah.
Yeah, and the thing I like too is kind of similar in the same breed, I would say, as God of War. It does pull a lot from the mythology and mythos of that time.
Well,
it doesn't go crazy like God of War, but it does have that kind of same. These are the demons we're hunting, and
very heavily into the Norse mythology.
The Northmen believe that the world will be destroyed someday. They call it Ragnarok, the destiny of the gods. Asgard will be attacked by Surt and the fire giants. A monstrous wolf will swallow the sun, and the gods will fight in vain against their enemies. There is nothing they can do to prevent it.
So if you're into Vikings and whatnot, awesome game to pick up and just kind of to get a weird kind of history lesson. Cultural lesson, whatever you want to call it.
Lesson in history, lesson in psychosis.
Let's get into the psychosis. That's really, I'd say, really the star of the game.
And I think the biggest thing for me that
Well,
the biggest thing to me was insane about that game was the fact that...
Let's just say, when you start this game, it tells you one of the first things it said, put on a nice pair of headphones with like 3D audio, and you need them. Yeah,
the best part about the game is having those on, because not only are you going to hear the ambient sounds and things more crystal clear than you would with, say, TV, but also the thing that's really insane is you will hear voices. You will... It will creep you out more hearing it than seeing it.
Senua has a whole bunch of voices that she hears in her head. Some of them more often than others. Some are helpful, some are not helpful, some are angry. What voice is in your head telling you to do that? I'm just curious.
There's like 3.
You got
2 of them are saying do it, the other one's French. I'm not quite sure what.
Do it!
Do it, American pig!
But they're all
this is Germans! American, come here!
But they're all in agreement that's the best thing for you to be doing right now. They're like, yes, that's definitely what he should do during the video. Okay, just...
I mean, at this point, they can see my crotch now, so I think that was the mistake we made at this.
Definitely gonna need to get those chairs back.
Like, if we just pull it up a little higher, then they can't see the junk. Keeps my hips stable.
Yeah. Back to the game. It is done with... If you get the game, it actually does come with a making of featurette where they talk to doctors that deal with psychosis. They talk to patients.
They actually have a part in the credits in the beginning, if you remember, where it said these are the patients that were involved.
They also get to see some of the actors how they did it, and for the voices, what they did is basically they put a microphone in the middle of the room and they had the actors kind of move around it. Some of them would come to get up there and do a little twirl, and you hear that audio. Sorry, all the shit you're doing, that's a bad thing.
Yeah, but I just had your hair in my face.
Beyond that, too, I always like when the games kind of call back to like an earlier, well-known game. Remember the game Myst?
Yeah.
One of the original kind of point-and-click adventure games.
Yeah. One of the most difficult puzzle games I ever played.
Yeah. Well, the way they did the video for that is they actually had... there's actually the two guys that came up with that game would get up in costume, dress up in costume, record themselves, and then integrate that into the game. For any video clips you saw on there, is those guys, dressed up pretty much as actors, and they'd be with whatever filters and effects. On top of that, they do a lot of that with Senua's Sacrifice, Hellblade.
I'm John. I'm your... Yeah, the best part of the video, and I think the actor that does that, I swear to God, I can't think of his name, of course not. He played... The big movie I can remember him playing was Doom.
Okay.
He was the protagonist in Doom.
No, it's not.
It looks like him.
It looks like him. No, the guy who plays Druth, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is that live action thing, I think
that
adds to it.
I'd say even better than in Myst. There are some scenes in there where it is interacting directly with the character Senua, who is completely computer generated. They took one of the people on there who works in the studio. She's supposed to be just a stand-in, but they end up using her because they fell in love with her performance so much. You can see they just got cameras mounted all around her head for this, and it's awesome how they record that. Which
is why if you play the game, the facial expressions on her are very precise and crisp.
It's a very dark game.
Yeah.
She goes through a lot of torment, not only because what she suffers from, but what she's experiencing.
Yeah.
And it all registers right there, and
you get to suffer with her.
Let's talk about some of the ways you suffer. First off, it's a very tight shot with her most of the time. It is very claustrophobic, especially in the sections where...
That are claustrophobic.
Yeah, there's...
Where it's like, okay, this feels... And the thing is, too, this is another point where having those headphones, they have done such an amazing... I have a very nice set of headphones. I used to play this game. They do full Atmos 3D, so you hear everything. And when you're running through an area, or even the voices will echo off the walls of these tight little spaces, so you start to feel closed in and very no escape. There's no way out. So you're literally holding that joystick like, where's your lady?
The voices that you hear a lot of times will be telling you. There's three main ones called the Furies.
Run, save yourself.
It will come across a door maybe. And one will be like, you need to open the door, you need to go through the door. And the other one's like, you can't open that door, there's no way you can open the door. The third one will be like, if you open the door, you're going to die. What the fuck am I supposed to do with that? Another one where you have a torch. You have to keep it lit, otherwise something big and nasty will come out and ruin your day.
Side note, I was actually on Xbox Live talking to Neil one day, he was playing Hellblade. He was at that scene, and you would know it got bad because he hit a waterfall and you hear crap, 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 fuck, 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 fuck. And he's like, gotta find fire, why? There's something here.
She can do it. She can't do it. The light's gone out. Run, get through it as quick as you can. The panic is...
And that's the thing, it's that feeling of this. Honestly, that one's bad, but the one that I come back to was, remember the scene? I can't remember what part it is, but you're in almost like a dungeon, and there's all these corridors.
Okay.
And every now and then you'll go to a corridor and you'll hit this thing, and it'll turn on some lights, and you'll see something run through one of the shafts. Now you're like, I can go now.
There's another section where there's some sort of monsters. You never really get a really good clear look on them. They're blurry and there's weird shapes. And you just know that if you get too close to them, it's gonna be a bad time. And it's this amazing game that really draws you in. And I gotta say, let's save this part for last. Spoiler alert. There's one part in this game where it specifically stops the action to put a message on the screen. You know what I'm talking about?
I didn't make it that far yet.
It's one of the first things that happen. The first fight you get in, and it's unwinnable.
Yeah.
You're going to lose this fight, but you don't die. You get a vision of Senua with this black curse mark thing start working its way up its arm.
That's right, yeah. Oh, yeah, yep.
A message pops up. It cuts away from her. A message pops up that says, every time you die, this curse is going to spread further and further up her arm. If it gets to her head, she's done. Game over.
You lose your save. You start all over. Have a nice day. Finally, a game with a consequence to your actions. I love it.
So you play this game, and every time something messes up, you don't get it right, and you shows the animation of this curse getting a little bit further up, you start freaking out. Especially if you're getting to a part that you can't that you're having trouble with.
Oh, and when it moves up your arm too, the voices, they join in.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna die. You're losing. Why can't you make
Well,
it?
here's where the spoiler comes in. They've tested this. I've read about this. People have gone through and purposely try to die over and over again to get this thing to erase their game. Doesn't happen. The game takes a moment, pulls you out of the game for a second to purposely lie to you. One of the most brilliant things I've ever seen every game do. I said this game's all about suffering psychosis and really exemplifies it. This is the game uses you operating in a world with faulty logic.
Yeah, and literally feeding you information that's not true, but you don't know any better. And so now you're living in the same kind of mentality that somebody in this poor condition would be stuck in, where everything's a lie. What's the truth? What do I believe? The voices are yelling at me, telling me to do 12 different things. I'm being told that this is going to happen, but is it really going to happen?
Too often I think it's easy to just, psychosis. Oh, crazy person hears voices. Crazy to for the sake of being crazy. Jared Leto Joker. This game really kind of makes you see how shitty it would have to be to kind of live with that, and with the fact that people can still manage to do it. So, anything else you want to say about Senua's Sacrifice, Hellblade?
This is the most terrifying thing I've ever done in my life.
I'd say not so much a game as more of an experience.
Yes, a very good experience, a very tight game, well made, well designed.
They build it as like a AAA indie game.
Yeah, and it really is. I think the time and effort was put in to make that game what it is, and there weren't any corners cut or anything skimped on. They took the time and effort to make the game what it should have been.
Alright, so you got about 30 seconds to wrap this up. Time that one out pretty good. No.
Oh.
Whatever you're thinking, no. So from Bill and I here at Random Tangent, hope this test video worked. Go check out Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice.
Senua's Sacrifice. We love you guys. As usual, like, subscribe, and share. And be advised, we will be back in the near future, very near future, with the full new set, the full equipment, and possibly my testicles.
Maybe. Probably not. Hopefully not.
These are R and a T.
No, bye.
Bye.